What is going on, guys? Austin here from Graphic. So in today's workout, what we're going to be doing is taking you through the second to last week of the peaking block. Now in this workout today, we're going to be doing the deadlift session again and then the bench. So we have our variations after that, and it's going to be the pause deadlift, and then we have the spoto press. Now keep in mind, again, with the deadlift and the bench, we're going to be doing our heavy singles, and then we lead into our back down sets of 5 sets of 2. We're going to be increasing the weight today, but decreasing the volume. And the whole point behind this is that we want to acclimate the body to heavier loads or heavier lifting, so that when we go in the meet, we're going to be at our peak, lifting as heavy as possible. So that's why this is called a peaking block, and that's all you need to know. We'll take you through it now. What is going on, guys? So as you see right here, we are first starting off with myofascia foam rolling, and I love doing this, especially prior to heavy lifting or lifting in general, because it helps loosen up the muscles, gets them prepped for training, and it's going to help reduce soreness also at the end of your workout. But I made a video on this before. I'll link that up at the end of this video. You can watch that. But what we are rolling out right here is the piriformis muscle. That's a small muscle located in the deep part, basically, of the butt, gluteus maximus. And it's responsible for a lot of things. It's mostly responsible for the hip to rotate, turning the leg turning the leg outward, essentially. But the thing is, guys, you want to get this loosened up when you're doing squats, especially because when your glutes and piriformis are tight, you can really injure your lower back if this isn't loosened up, or if your glutes aren't loose prior to like heavy lifting. So that's why we focus on this first. Then we move on to the hip flexor in the next one. That's what I just did there. The hip flexor is important too, because generally when you sit, and those two muscle groups we just rolled out, the piriformis and the glutes and the hip flexor, what happens is if you sit for prolonged periods of time, those muscles get really tight. So the hip flexors are at the top part of your hip. They're responsible for, obviously, flexion of the hip. So especially in the squat, you're going to be obviously doing a movement that's going to require the hip flexor to be loose. So we start off with 2 movements of myofascial rolling, then we do hip openers, as always, you guys have seen. Then we move on to thoracic spine mobility. So right here, what we are doing is I really enjoyed this movement. This is an arm extension modified warrior. So we're doing like the warrior pose at the end of it, but how we're warming up the thoracic spine right here is with that little rotation right there. And if you guys aren't familiar with the thoracic spine, that's the mid part of the spine. So think of it after the 7th vertebrae, we're going to go down 12 different vertebrae from there. Then we move into our slam balls next. So this is a CNS activation. We do 2 sets of 5 with 30-pound slam ball, just trying to wake up the CNS, as you've seen in some of the other videos. If you haven't, that's what we're doing right here. So we're waking up the central nervous system, brain and spinal cord, getting it fired up for the heavy lifting. So it's important to do this type of stuff, explosive-based stuff, prior to heavy single lifts. So now, sumo deadlift, 450, 1 pull. Felt pretty good. Bar moved pretty fast. Good bar path right there. Didn't come too far forward. Try to emphasize the hold at the top, because in the meet, I know they tell you to hold it for quite a while. So we now move into our pause sumo deadlift. And as you see with the pause, the whole point behind this is this is just for a double. But what this is doing is it's loading up the lats. It's also loading up the back a little bit more, causing me to really focus on the pull from the initial part of the ground. So it's allowing me to get over any like humps when I'm lifting heavier. It's going to allow me to really get off the ground more efficiently, because I'm doing that. I'm emphasizing that hold at the bottom. So next one we have right here, we did show me the money, so it's just a reverse grip pull apart. Now we're going behind the neck pull aparts. I really enjoy this type of mobility movement. It really warms the shoulders up well. Then we go into face pulls. As you've seen in other videos before, I really love face pulls. I think they're great for warming up the rear delts, the scapula, everything gets fired up. So again, just trying to retract that scapula back, feeling good. And yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the best movements you can do to really warm up the scap. So now we go into scorpions. This is actually, again, another thoracic movement. I think this is great because it really emulates when you're in a bench press, it helps you with that curve when you're trying to get set up. So I did this prior to the heavy bench, and same concept, guys, like I said with the deadlift. All we're doing in this peaking block is trying to reduce the total training volume and increase the weight so that ultimately we can peak in the meet. That's all we're doing. And that's why the volume, as you see, each week, what I've been doing is I've been stripping it down 1 extra rep. So we started off the peaking block. We started off with actually 4 reps on each set. Then we went 3 reps on each set. Now what we're doing on our working sets is 2 reps, as you saw with that deadlift, and we're going to be doing the bench. That was a heavy single right here for 280 pounds. And lastly, we have the Spoto press again. Remember, this is the invisible board press. The whole point behind this is going to help load the chest more, and it's going to really emphasize the lockout. So at the bottom position, when you get stuck down to the bench press, this is going to help break through it and lock out. I love this movement, just like board press, but even better. It really puts extra overload on the chest. So that is all, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for the last workout before the taper week in the next video. All right, guys, that wraps it up for today's video. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. You know all that good stuff. And we are almost at the meet week. We are almost there. Man, I'm so thrilled because there's going to be some big PRs, and I'm really appreciative for you guys watching all these videos and just following my journey through this my 3rd meet. So I'm really excited to compete, and I'm excited for you guys to see everything, and hopefully you guys can implement this stuff if you ever want to compete, or if you ever want to build more strength and muscle. Definitely do these workouts. We'll see you next video. Take care.